What is up guys, Greedy Knight here with a breakdown of Axe Hopper. I briefly discussed it in my other video. After 100 online hunts worth of testing, there are several things I didn't mention which I will be discussing today. Let's get into it. Axe Hopper is a 2-hit move that launches you into the air. You have 2 directional inputs when you activate the move and when you attack. The important thing is that the first directional input will decide where you drift towards, and the second will decide what angle your attack will land. While in the air, you can input any direction paired with an attack, and you will aim your attack in that direction. X for a chop, A for an AED, X plus A for supers, and ZR for a sword and shield morph. This is the extent I've talked about Axe Hopper, but there is so much more about the move. Assuming you have red shield charge and 1 wire bug, you can infinitely pop Axe Hoppers until your red shield charge runs out or the monster leaves the area. Here's how you do it. You use a perfectly timed charge slash into roundhouse slash on the monster to gain yellow energy. You have to hit all of your hits, otherwise you won't gain yellow energy. Load Phials as usual to get your 5 Phials, then Silkbind cancel into Axe Hopper. In between the animation of Axe Hopper, a super, and loading up to yellow energy, your second wire bug will recharge by the time you load your second round of Phials, thus completing the infinite loop. This translates to a super every 20 seconds, assuming you can stay on the monster. You should use load shells with this loop, but you can technically get away with 3 Phial supers and settle for the lower damage. For Impact Phial, there is 0 incentive to pop an AED even if the monster moves out of the way. You can cancel the move by morphing to sword and shield mode by hitting ZR instead of wasting your Phials. Since Impact has a good damage distribution on all hit zones, your Phial damage will hit consistently across all hit zones, which is why super is the way to go. For Element Phial, since the hit zones vary, there are cases where AEDs are more beneficial to use because of the values on a given monster. It is more damage efficient to aim for the weakest area with a focused attack via an AED instead of spreading out your Phial damage over resistant areas via a super. In general, Element Phial will require more research on monsters for efficient damage output, so study the matchup and aim where appropriate, regardless of playstyle. Use your maneuverability to aim along the longest surface area of a monster because aiming in this fashion will allow you to land most of your Phials, if not all of them. The super was changed to be more narrow than previous games, which is actually a buff for this very reason. For most monsters, aiming along the spine is the most damage efficient since there are plenty of serpentine monsters. For any monster with a wingspan like Nargacuga or Rathalos, you can aim along the direction of their wingspan for equally efficient damage. It gives you the added benefit of getting breaks on those areas if you focus them enough. There are 3 different timings for Axe Hopper: early, timed, and late. Early is when you input an attack immediately after you vault, timed is when you attack during the apex of your jump, and late is when you input your attack just before landing on the ground. There isn't a damage difference between early and timed supers, but you can use the different timings to land your super as the monster moves in or out of your range. If you land on the ground before your attack finishes, the super will become a grounded super. You will never want to pop a super late if you want maximum damage, since the Axe Hopper supers are stronger than grounded ones. In the case you have to opt out of a super, you can combo straight into your regular ground combos after landing. If you opt for a sword and shield morph, you can combo straight into a charge slash or an advancing slash. Similarly, you can combo a double burst chop or super on the ground after an aerial chop. Regardless of which mode you use, you can use morphing advance to close the distance once you land. However, you cannot combo an Axe Hopper from a morphing advance until you input an attack. Trades are when you and the monster attack each other at the same time, both of you landing your hits. Since the monster can swat you out of the air, you should always trade. You have 0 means of defending yourself in the air, so might as well hit the monster back while you're at it. An AED will always proc if you land the swing. A super's Phials will only fire if the Axe Chop animation releases the Phials before you get hit. In these situations, AEDs are better because you get the whole move off if you land your hit, and they are faster. Supers require a bit of luck and hard prediction to get both the Phials and Axe hit to trade. If possible, try to avoid getting hit mid-air entirely. That is more information you will ever need on Axe Hopper, but hopefully this video was thorough enough to provide some useful tips. Whether you use Axe Hopper is entirely up to you, but as with all things I recommend on this channel, test it for yourself if you want to determine if a specific skill or move fits your playstyle. Axe Hopper is proactive, so you don't have to wait for the monster to attack you like with Counterpeak. So the best settings to use this switch skill is online and during a rampage. The more chaotic a hunt is, the better Axe Hopper becomes, since you can use it on demand instead of relying on luck and reaction to activate Counterpeak. Like if you enjoyed the video or if you learned something new. Consider subscribing for more Charge to Play content like this. That's all I have for this one. Greedy Knight, signing out.